Not that long ago we got a new Chop Shop DLC in which we got a new business, and with that we also got a lot of new cars. We are coming to an end of the drop feed cars, so it is perfect time to talk about all of their features, upgrades, and if you should buy them or not. First off, and most importantly, we finally have police cars in the game that we can actually buy and upgrade. So let's dive into them. One of them is the Unmarked Cruiser. It is an undercover police car which has hidden police lights. It is definitely really cool, but anyone can still see that it is a police car. Now, if you want to upgrade your police cars, you will have to own your personal garage with a shop inside, since you can't take these cars to LS Customs for some reason. Apart from regular upgrades like the car's color and wheels, you don't have many unique upgrades. Only unique upgrade is the police equipment, which is already on the car, and I guess if you want to be a bit stealthier, you can get rid of the police equipment and blend in the regular traffic a bit more. It drives great, it is not super fast but also not that slow, so if you like the stealth look, you should totally get it, and if you don't, then you will like the next car. The Stanier Le Cruiser. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'm going to run with it. It is the real police cruiser with the badges on the sides and the lights on the top. In terms of upgrades, this one is much cooler. It has way more police equipment options like the roof mounted light bars and aerials that you can put all over the car. You also get spotlight options and push bar options. And if you're wondering, the lights on the push bar and the spotlights are completely functional and will light up when you turn on your headlights. You also have a lot of different livery options which all represent different type of police units or jurisdictions, and I will highly suggest leaving the stock wheels on since they are really cool. If you are wondering, the two police cars have the same top speed and they handle pretty much the same. With both of them you can be faster than the police that is chasing you, but you won't be too fast. Stanier Le Cruiser has quite a cooler interior compared to the unmarked version. It has a police laptop inside and divider between the front and back seats. If you open the trunk, you will also find some police equipment. Only unfortunate thing about these cop cars is that they do not have any underglow options. I think it would be really cool to have those flashing red and blues on the ground, but maybe that's just me. Now there are two cars in Legendary Motorsport website and they are both Imani cars, meaning they have great special upgrades. Grotti Turismo Omaggio is a supercar which is quite modern and great looking as well. As I mentioned earlier, it has Imani tech upgrades. If you take it to the agency garage, you can put Imani specific upgrades like the lock-on missile jammer or the remote control unit. Unfortunately, you do not get armor plating on the car, so the car will blow up if hit with one rocket. Apart from the Imani tech upgrades, it has a lot of upgrades so you can make the car your own. It has great and interesting liveries like the Outline Sport livery, which I currently have on the car, which is quite neat. Weird thing is that this car has only the primary paint color, so you won't be able to change the interior color, it will just be the same as the outside. The car itself, since it is a supercar, drives really well and handles the corners nicely. This car is also rear wheel drive, so it might not grip the corners as some all-wheel drive cars, but it being rear-wheel drive means that you can drift it nicely around the corners, although not as nicely as some other cars on the list which I will talk about later. I really like the Turismo Omaggio since it looks really great and it is also an Imani car, meaning other players won't be able to lock onto you with their missiles so you can safely drive around. I feel like this is the only real supercar out of all Imani cars since it doesn't look too flashy and crazy like the Virtue. I would definitely recommend buying this car. Vapid Aleutian is also another Imani car. This one has the lock-on missile jammer and the armor plating upgrade. The armor plating of this car will withstand 12 homing rockets, so you will be totally safe inside. And it also has slick mines if you want to add them. Other than Imani upgrades, it has a lot of personalization options. It has great liveries together with the graffiti livery, which is quite cool. This car also has roof light bar options and they are both functional, meaning they will light up when you turn on your headlights. And they will not only turn on, but they are also fully functional. You can see that when you turn them on, it will light up a much greater space than your regular headlights would. It drives like a really big SUV that it is. It is fast, but on turns it feels really top heavy and won't handle the corners really great. Unless you really like how the car looks, I can't really recommend it. Jubilee is cheaper, faster and greater at driving while still being an Imani car and an SUV, so I would rather suggest suggest you buy the older Jubilee SUV rather than this one. Now let's look at all the 8 new cars we have in Southern San Andreas SuperAutos. And let's start with the Fathom FR36, since it is one of 8 cars that now has this new drift tuning upgrade, and I will show all the 8 cars on the screen right now. To install the tuning, you will have to go to LS Car Meet, and there in the shop you have to purchase it. This upgrade will make the car really good at drifting, and it is so much fun. You will notice that this tuning will make the front wheels turn way sharper, which helps with drifting, and if you are wondering, it does improve the turning circle greatly. If you purchase the drift tuning, your car won't handle the same, and it won't be great for racing, since on corners it won't stick to the road, it will just drift. But driving at high speeds and drifting from one side of the highway to another is so sick. Apart from the drift tune, this car has really great and really tasteful upgrades. The bumpers, spoilers and other visual upgrades are not overdone, and they are not crazy, they are just really pretty and simple, which I think you and I will really like. I will highly recommend buying this car for the drift upgrade, which you have to experience for yourself to know how fun it is, and also for this car's amazing look. Next up is the newest addition to the fleet, which is the Cavalcade XL. It is another SUV and quite a cool one at that. Looking at upgrades, it has quite a few unique upgrades. It has arch cover upgrades which will add arches to wheel wells, and I have never seen this upgrade before. Apart from that, it has very unique looking liveries, nice bumpers and even bumper with little lights on the bottom, which are functional and will light up. It also has really weird suspension with a lot of camber, which just makes the car look goofy. This car also has two-tone paint scheme, which is nice, but it doesn't work all that well with bright colors like the red, since if you paint the roof part with black and have red as primary color, pearlescent feature will make that black look red, and if you make pearlescent color black, it just dulls down the red. But the driving experience is great, it is fast and actually hooks the corners really well, unlike the previous SUV that I mentioned. So if you want a cool SUV, you might like this one. Keeping with the SUV type, the Karin Vivanite, I don't know how to say it at all, is another car in SUV category, but it clearly looks like a minivan. It is also a hybrid, so it has that. Upgrades are not all that great, and bumper options are straight out of a Luton Imani car, and they do not fit this car at all. It barely has a roll cage inside, indicating it is fast, but actually it is not all that fast. One cool feature is that the door handle is a secondary color, so that's a quite cool feature, I guess. It drives like you might expect. It is not fast unless you are on console and can purchase HSW upgrade, which will make this car really fast. But on PC it will still be quite slow. As I mentioned earlier, it is a hybrid and you can hear when electric motor switches to the gas engine, which is quite cool. Apart from that, the headlights are futuristic and cool looking. So if you want a modern minivan, this might be the only option you can get. We also got a new classic car, the Impaler LX. It has really great and tasteful upgrades. Bumper options are gorgeous, and on the back you can have a tire carrier. You can also choose to have a leather roof option, which looks wonderful. It also has a trim upgrade which will add few trim pieces, and the trim follows the bumper body lines really well and makes this car even cleaner looking. But if you want this car not to be as clean looking, you can choose to have a hood with a cutout and a huge blower sticking out of it. The car is surprisingly fast and fun just to cruise around. It is definitely not a sports car, and you can feel that while cornering. If you want a nice classic looking car, this one is really great and I will recommend buying it. Now we also got few new cabriolets. The Vigero ZX Cabriolet is the same as its roofed car version, but the Dominator GT is completely a new car. And let's start with the Dominator GT, since it is actually a new car. It has great and tasteful upgrades which all look awesome, and the grille option I have on is really nice and makes the car look similar to RTR Mustang. The car also has a mudguard option, which is super weird since it doesn't fit the car at all. Dominator GT drives quite nicely. It is still a muscle car, meaning it is great at acceleration, but on turns it is not too stable. And if you are wondering how the roof opens and closes, this is the mechanism of the Dominator GT. Now the Vigero ZX convertible is exactly the same as regular Vigero ZX. The upgrade options are the same, but they are also vast and great for both of these cars. Even the driving and handling of them are the same. If you're wondering, the Vigero ZX is a bit faster than the Dominator GT, and if you're wondering how the roof operates for this car, this is it. And in my opinion, the Vigero ZX has a better looking convertible design, and when the roof is stowed away, it just looks cleaner. So I guess buy the Dominator GT if you like it, and for the Vigero ZX just choose if you want the roof or convertible, or even both. And we have two more cars which look like regular NPC cars, and both of them are quite weird, so let's start. Asterope GZ.
What?
Looks a lot like Lester's car, doesn't have great upgrades, and even two of the bumper options look exactly the same to me, so I don't know. This car doesn't even have the suspension upgrade, so the stance is really questionable. But what it lacks in upgrades, it does not lack in driving ability. It is surprisingly fast, and it is as fast as the SUVs mentioned before. It is rear wheel drive, and even with this drivetrain it handles the corners quite well. And the lack of suspension is not for the worst, since it kind of feels smooth on the road and it floats well on the road surface. So I don't know, this car is quite weird, but it is quite cool at the same time. But it even gets weirder with the Bravado Dorado. It has a lot of upgrades, the hoods and bumpers look great. It also has bull bar and bumper lights, but on this car they are not functional. And now it even gets weirder. It has a ton of spoiler upgrades, which all look the same until you get into the last one, which is huge. And from that point I just went wild with it, put on racing wheels, and now the car looks really strange, but kind of cool at the same time. There is not yet any stats on the speed of this car, but it really feels fast, unless that is a placebo effect from the crazy wing on the back. On turns this car really leans, but it still doesn't slide and grips the surface quite well. So I guess if you like what you see, buy this car. Now there are two more cars in Warstock I have not mentioned yet. The Boxville LSDS van and the Police Riot car. The Boxville LSDS is literally the same as regular Boxville van, but the newer one has just a little bit different price tag. And the Police Riot is super expensive, and on top of that it is not upgradable at all, and it is a Pegasus vehicle, meaning you will have to call it in through your phone. And it does not even have armor, and it blows up on the first homing rocket. Both of these vehicles are totally not worth it, and I would not recommend buying them. There are a few more cars that are planned to be released in this update, which I will throw up on the screen, but I think they are more likely to come out in the next DLC, which is rumored to come out on 20th of February. So we will have to wait and see how it plans out. I'm really interested to know what are your favorite cars from this update, so please leave that in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I will see you lovely people in the next one. Have a wonderful day! It is snowing where I'm from, so I don't know. Maybe you live in a desert, maybe you don't. Tell me in the comments if you got this far.